Hello.
Hello. Welcome to Awkward
Welcome.
Aquarians Review.
Review. And today we are reviewing Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 1, Episode 12. The last episode of Season 1,
Season
Prophecy Girl. I do remember actually liking this episode. So,
1. Yeah, it's
that's
a
good.
really good
Mhm.
finale.
It is. It's a really good finale. I think it wraps up a lot. I don't know if they intended it to be like they might not get another season, so this is like our series finale. And even that, I think I would have been okay with. Like, I'm so glad it continued, but I think I would have been okay because it was a good wrap up. Yeah. So
Yeah, all the plans that they had put earlier in the season pay off. Good story arc.
Yeah. Great story arc. Except with the Anointed One, I still thought he was lame. Like, I'm like, this character is.
I hate the Anointed One. It makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
He's
useless.
a Dawn.
Yeah, useless.
All that build up and nothing. Absolutely useless.
Yeah, this is a total Dawn. Which I guess so I guess Buffy's done it more than once. Just bring in a character, make him this like big thing, and then they're useless. So
totally
useless. Like, don't promise me things if you're not going to give it to me. It's like wanting a C's candy and getting just like a normal like Hershey's one instead. Don't promise me.
I know.
But yeah, so I guess just diving right in. It opens with I think it opens with the Master and the Anointed One in his like underground cave place. I've said before, I don't always remember the Master scenes because they tend to bore me. But yeah, I think they're in their cave hovel, trying to like open up or start the proceedings to open up the Hellmouth. And then the next scene goes to, and this scene I really liked because it showed it was like an earthquake. Like Giles is in the library reading this book that Angel gave him last episode. Actually, I think it's called the Codex, and it's like all about these like Slayer prophecies and everything. And I think it'd be the coolest thing if Buffy actually ever came out with an actual codex, like people could buy. They could like read all the prophecies and all this. I would buy it up.
Awesome.
It'd be like down at Barnes and Noble super quick. Be like, I want that. And also, I've always wanted a book or something that tells the histories of all the past Slayers.
Oh yeah. That would be so awesome.
Wouldn't that be amazing? I wanted that forever. I think we should have that. I don't know why we don't. Like, there's so much history and story there. Give it to us.
Give it to us.
I want it. But so he's reading that, and you can see whatever he's read has really upset him. And something about, I think we hear it in I'm not sure, voiceover, but about Buffy will face the Master and be killed. So he's upset about that. And then we go to Cordelia making out with some random boy in a car, and outside the car because the windows are all like steamed up because they
like Titanic.
Yeah, the handprint falls across. But outside the car is Buffy, and she's fighting these vampires. And I really like this scene because it's in like slow motion, and she's just out there being her badass Buffy self. And the vampire kind of like gives her this smile, like, "Oh, I've got you," and then she like smiles back at him and pulls out a stake from her back or whatever, like her back shirt. And I thought that was so cool. I'm like, oh, I love a good fight scene. I love a really good fight scene.
Sucker for a good Slayer.
I know. Like, give it to me. That's why I think I loved the Buffy and Faith fighting, because they were so evenly matched, and they both had their skills, and I was like, ooh, I could watch you two fight all day. Even though I wanted Faith on the side of good, I could still watch them fight all day.
Yeah. One of my favorite characters that then turned into my least favorite. I was like, oh my god, another Slayer! Like, Slayer.
Yeah.
Like, I was so excited for there to be two of them, and then it was like...
I was excited. I didn't know how I felt. Like, I was excited about her, but really quickly off. They didn't do much with her character, so I was kind of like losing that excitement. I was like, you need to do something with her. Like, she's just there in the background as a prop. Let's bring her in, and we need something. A lot like they did with Kendra, just underutilized until they turned her evil, and then she was like She was like, okay, like, utilized now. But so there, she's fighting, Cordelia's making out, Giles is reading, and there's this big earthquake, start of like the Hellmouth opening. Even it doesn't open now, it's just like the start over like a few day process. And then Buffy goes to school the next day, and she's complaining to Giles, there's more vampires than there usually is, and especially around the school. And she's like, and I broke a nail, So Buffy, and Giles is clearly distracted, but he doesn't tell her why. So she goes off to class, and the next scene, I think, is close to Xander asking her to prom. I think is that scene that we get, and I don't know, I don't like this scene very much because I don't think Xander
we're
handled
Team
it very
Angel,
well.
and so
we're Team Angel, and we're, I don't know, it's just, I don't think, because Buffy's never really given him any sort of sign that she thinks of him as more than a friend.
Yeah.
Romantically. I do have some issues in season 2 when she's just a little, like, very friendly with him, and it's like, Buffy, he has feelings for you, back off a little. But up until this point, she really hasn't, because I don't think she's thought that Xander has had those feelings toward her. Like, she's kind of just thought that, oh, he's my buddy, he's like a male Willow, we're just friends.
Mm-hmm.
So he asked her to prom, and she handles it really good. She tells him no politely. She's like, Xander, I don't think about you like that. I care about you, but I don't think about you like that. And then he's like, oh, I guess a guy has to be dead to make time with you, or whatever. Like, Xander, you ass.
Yeah, like, I guess to protect your fragile ego, you've got to pin it on something wrong with her. Like, obviously, she just likes vampires.
Yeah,
like, instead of being like, I'm just, not the one for her or whatever.
Whereas, like, Xander, even if there wasn't an angel, you wouldn't be the one for her. It's
no chance.
Not that. And she's like, that's way harsh,
I had
Xander.
to do that once. Have you ever had to do that with a guy friend, to be like,
yeah, they haven't really, but they didn't handle it like that, which, I mean, thank goodness. And we were still, with one of them, we were still able to be friends after, so that was nice. I mean, a little awkward, because you always have the, oh no, they've asked me out. This is so awkward.
Well, mine was, I was with somebody, so I was like, I'm not single. And they were like, yeah, but eventually, if you do become single, and I was like, I had to be like, no, I'm sorry. Even if I was single.
Like, eventually when your relationship crashes and burns, then we can be together. Like, no.
First of all, thanks for the vote of confidence.
Yeah, thanks so much for the confidence in my relationship that you have. Yeah.
And secondly, ain't gonna happen. Not now.
No,
not ever.
Not ever. I think sometimes that happens with, like, guy and girl friends. Like, I think sometimes you can just, like, mistake the affection you feel as a friend for, like, more, like, romantic affection.
Yeah, and I had to learn to curb that, because I'm, like, very affectionate.
Well, we're both,
like,
we're very, like,
hugs and snuggles and yeah. And I'm the same way with my girlfriends as guys, but I think, yeah.
I know, I'm a bit, like, very kind of, I don't think of it as, like, flirtatious. I just think of it as, like, affectionate. But and yeah, I'm the same way with, like, my guy and girlfriends, but sometimes it can be misconstrued as something else, I think. And you're like, no, if I like you, like, I'm gonna have a real hard time talking to you. Like, if I'm, like, really into you, I want to be like an awkward little bump on a log. So I don't know that there's ever been, like, a friend that I felt something for. Oh, well, that's not totally true. Like, we both, from our past, yeah, but we would never say anything. Like, we're not those kind of people. Like,
I would love you like heart. Niles and Daphne.
Daphne! Yeah, just thinking
like Niles from afar.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it in my little heart locked box till I die. Like, so we're different that way. We're definitely not like the Xanders that are gonna ask who we care about out. And if they rejected us, we're not gonna be like, oh well, it's only because you
it's because you only like this kind of girl. Obviously there's something wrong with you.
There's something with you, it's not me. No. We're gonna be like, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, just forget it. Let's be friends.
You know what's crazy? Is that I'm in Washington and it's so dark and gray, except right here, the sun.
That's where the sun is on you.
I feel like a vampire myself.
I know. Like, why? Right on your face, like just glowing it
right
like
on my face. I have to like lean forward because if I lean back, it's like
fall off the screen. I know. I was in Vegas one time, and we were staying. It was pretty high up on the floor, and they had these blackout curtains, the best blackout curtains I've ever had in my life. There was no sun getting in, so I wasn't really sure of the time. I like woke up. I'm like, oh, what time is it? And I just like fling open the curtains, and this beacon of sunlight comes in, and I screamed top of my. I was like, ah! And I close it, and I fall back on the bed like a vampire that's just been burned.
I brought my blackout curtains from California, from LA to here, thinking it was the first thing I installed was my blackout curtains.
Yeah.
And I haven't used them once.
You don't need to there. I guess it's like gray a lot. So
yeah, I'm just like, yeah. Anytime the sun does come out here, it's like a glorious thing.
Yeah. Yeah, blackout curtains in Arizona, not so. You gotta get like the industrial kind. Like, what is this Arizona sun? But yeah, so Xander did not handle it well. And he like walks away, and she was like, Xander, that's way harsh, you know. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I just don't take rejection well. So I guess he knows it. He sees it in himself, but. Yeah, and then he goes and tells Willow, oh, we can still, go together. Like, no, Buffy squashed my heart like a bug. Why don't we go together? And she tells him no.
And he knows that Willow likes him, so he's being a double dick.
Yeah, he knows Willow likes him. He just wants, again, I think to feel that ego a little, like, oh, I can still go and go with someone who's always going to be there for me, no matter what. But she tells him no. She's like, no, I'm not going to go with you while you're thinking about how you want to be here with another girl. I'm not going to do that. And I loved Willow for that. I'm like, good Willow, like good backbone, good standing up for yourself,
Yeah.
You you have feelings for him. He kind of knows you have feeling for him. So it's good that you're standing there and saying like, no. So that happens. And then I forget when Buffy's mother gives her that dress for prom, but it's like the most beautiful dress I've ever seen. I've always wanted a dress like that. And I don't know because I saw it on Buffy, I think it's beautiful, but it's like that white dress, with the flap. So,
the one I tried to duplicate for Halloween when you were Xena and I was Buffy.
Yeah, yeah. I think the dress you ended up wearing was like one of my mother's 1970s hippie dresses. It was like white with like lace and everything, but
it was so pretty.
It was so pretty. It was, a great duplication when you don't have a lot of time and you only have like a few days to decide what you're going to be.
You know what just flashed in my head? Is that picture of us with the little painted V's as vampires in elementary school.
Oh my God.
Do you remember that picture?
We were like Bella Lugosi. Well, it was like the typical... We had our painted the black painted here, so it looked like we had the hair that went to here,
and the pale and the black lipstick. And
I think we had the fingernails on. We're like, it was like, oh my God, I gotta find that picture and I'll put it up here.
Yeah, and then find it and send it to me or send a copy to me because I have that picture painted on my mind.
We were vampire lovers from an early age.
We were in elementary school. What elementary school girl is like, let's both go as vampires? And not cute vampires, hardcore.
Yeah, we were not like the cute vampires. We were like early movies.
Early black and white.
Early black and white movies. Yeah, I don't know where we thought or got that aesthetic from. But we were like, that's what a vampire should look like, so that's what I'm gonna look like.
That's what we're gonna look like.
Now we'd be like, oh, I want to look like Celine from the underworld, but
I'm not putting on that pleather. I was like, pleather.
Well, you ain't getting out of it. You're like in it for the night. Like that's like
just paint it
like
on.
that.
Just paint black paint over yourself. Save yourself the trouble.
Like Mystique from X-Men. I'll just paint my body on. Yeah. But yeah, so she kind of she has this dress for prom, and there's the scene where Giles is in the library and he's talking to Angel. Angel's back again. Like, this is what made me very happy. I'm like, okay, maybe he is going to be a series, semi-regular. Just don't get rid of him. So they're talking and they're talking about the books. Will you be mine, my darling dear? Love you for all time. So they're talking about the codex, and Giles is explaining, what it says. Like, Buffy's going to face the Master, she's going to die. And Angel's like, no, you're not reading it right. It's not going to happen. And at first Buffy's excited because she's like, Angel, as we would be, because she sees them. And then she overhears them talking about her dying when she faces the Master. And there's this really intense emotional scene where she's just like quit slaying and kind of like yells at both of them, like she tells Angel, you're however many years old, you don't know what it's like to die, you're never going to die. And tells Giles, you're really good with all your watching and your books. And she like takes the cross off and she like throws it on the ground, and she throws books at Giles, and it's super emotional, and and you feel for Buffy because she's this 16-year-old girl who has to go through all of this sort of like stuff where you think, okay, I'm gonna go face this person, I'm probably gonna die. But then again,
it's like you have high school problems, and then you also have to face like a demon of the underworld and possibly be killed. So it's like,
what's up with that? But then again, my pragmatic brain goes to like, well, if I didn't face him and die, I'm gonna die anyway when the Hellmouth opens and like hell's released. So I almost feel like they should have maybe said that, like, Buffy, I get it, but death is imminent either way. Like hell's gonna open, the end of the world, and for you and everyone else. So why she would have to go by herself, it was never said. I would bring the cavalry along with me. I'd be like, well, then Angel's coming with me. He's definitely coming. Like, he's got the skill. I'm bringing him along. Giles, you can stand in the background with like a little crossbow, just like aiming at the Master. Like, I'm not gonna face him alone. I'm not following that prophecy. That's stupid.
Exactly. This is why the Winchester brothers hunt together.
Yeah, exactly. You always go in a team.
Yeah, me and you, we would be the Winchester brothers.
We'd be the Winchester. I'm like, never go alone. I don't even go through like, if the house is dark at night, I don't even like to go through it alone. I'm like, where's my dog? I hate my dog. But in the meantime, like Willow and Cordelia are kind of working together on the prom or something. Like Cordelia like roped in Willow to helping her with something with the prom, and it's actually like she's being really nice to Willow, and she and Willow are kind of like talking about boys, and it's kind of cute. It's lovely to see like her and Cordelia just interacting with the group in a way that's not mean.
Toxic,
I really like seeing that. Yeah. And so they were going to meet Cordelia's boyfriend and some of his friends because I don't know why, like they'd missed like meeting him or something. So they found them at the school in this room, and they open the door and they're all dead. Like they've all been killed. They've had their blood drained. So it really affects Willow, and Buffy goes to see her, and Willow's kind of just crying on her bed saying this time was different, and they attacked, the school, and they had fun doing it. And again, in my head, I think I was thinking of season 2, because when we watched this, I saw a lot of images from all the seasons in my head. So I was like, wait a second, they've attacked the school a lot, but I guess not in season 1 yet. Like this is kind of like the first time in season 1 when the school had been attacked. This is like the first Sunnydale school attack-ish ever, I guess. And actually the first time, I was thinking about this, because, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but in the first season, we get a lot of non-vampire episodes. I mean, the first episode, creature features, yeah, because like the first episode, all about vampires. Then you had a witch, then you had like a bug lady, which also had a vampire, but he was like a background player. You had the pack, you had the puppet with the demon, just a lot of non-vampires. So this was kind of like bringing it back to vampires, bringing it back to Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And I did like that too. I thought that was cool. And so Buffy sees how distressed Willow is, and she kind of realizes, okay, I can do something about this. Like if there's anyone here who can do something about it, it's me, and I'm the Slayer, and this is what I do. So she decides to go and fight the Master, and I thought that was like so brave of her, and so just such a good Buffy character moment. Like, all right, I'm seeing her friend in distress, then being like, this is what I've got to do. So she goes to the library, she gets the crossbow. Giles is preparing to go fight the Master himself, like, because Buffy quit, and he knows the Master has to be killed, and he's there with Miss Carpenter, Jenny, and she's like, you can't go, you're gonna get killed. And then Buffy comes in, and he tells Buffy, like, you're not going, I'm your watcher, I'm doing this. And it's so sweet to see how much he cares about her. He's like kind of like taking her on as this daughter. He's like, this is my fight, this is what I'm gonna do. And she just like punches him out. She's like, you're not going. Poof. And he just falls onto the floor, and she picks up her cross, and she puts her cross back on her neck, and basically tells Miss Calendar to tell Giles something cool. And he wakes up basically accepting her fate, that she's probably gonna die, but still doing this anyway. So real hero Buffy, true hero. She goes off, she faces the Master, she loses like pretty easily, actually. Like the Master was being shady. Like he's like hiding in the corners and like hiding behind things. Then he comes out and he uses this weird sort of vampire hypnosis on her, and we're never really told like why he has it and other vampires don't. Because like, why does he have this hypnotic power? Like, I know he's old, but is that just something you get from being old? Like, what's going on? So he basically uses it on her. She kind of like goes still, and he bites her and throws her into this pool of water. And again, I thought, I don't know. In my head, I'm just like, ooh, if I was the Master, I would have probably finished her off, like just drained her blood dry. And I'm like,
I would have drank her dry and then
yeah, I was like, I'm not leaving anything up to chance. I've been stuck in a hole in the ground for like 200 years, so I'm like, suck you dry, snap your neck. Like, But he doesn't. He drinks her, and then to the point where I guess she's not even dead, because they said she drowned, so she wasn't even dead. And then threw her into the puddle. And in the meantime, Xander goes off to find Angel and tell Angel, Buffy went to face the Master. And Angel's like, she'll die. And Xander's like, yeah, we've got to go save her. And Angel's like, you're in love with her. And then Xander's like, aren't you? It was but I did like that Xander went and got Angel. Like, he didn't just try to go by himself.
And that's kind of like the only time he ever does that, really.
Yeah. He used his brain. Like, you put aside your feelings,
petty differences.
This pettiness, because I feel in some, especially like season 2, season 3, I feel like even if it's for the best, Xander would just like completely disregard doing the right or best thing to do what suits him the best. And this time he didn't. He's like, I'm gonna go to Angel. He knows where the Master is, or he could at least find him. And which I guess I was going to say I was giving Xander credit, but I guess he did go to Angel because he thought Angel knew where the Master was, not because he thought Angel could help like fight the Master. So I might be giving him a little too much credit. I don't know. But anyway, they run in and they find Buffy, face down in the pool of water. Angel like grabs her, pulls her out, and he's like, she's not breathing. But he's like, I can't do CPR. I don't have any breath. So Xander has to do CPR on her,
which is such a bummer if you're
such a bummer.
Angel Buffy
if you're an Angel Buffy fan,
like, oh, he's gonna resuscitate her.
He's gonna give her the breath of life. Yeah, and you're like, oh, shoot, it's Xander. Yeah, Xander. And and I get it, and I was like okay with it, but then when she comes to and she's like, Xander? Like she looks at him like with almost like awe, and I'm like, I'm like, be grateful, but I don't like this like look of like, oh my gosh, thank you for saving me, But he did. He brought her back to life. He was the champ. And she stands up, and they're like, "Oh, you're weak. You have to sit down." And she's like, "No, I feel strong. Like I feel just stronger."
Pump it up.
I know. Yeah, pumped up. I don't know why. I don't know if you get like bit by a vampire, if it like gives you strength, or maybe if it just gives Buffy strength. Or
although this death of hers was the creation of Faith. Good to remember.
Well, actually, yeah, Kendra. It's like created Kendra.
Oh, was it Kendra first?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, created Kendra, and then she died.
Kendra.
I did too. Again, so I wish we saw so much more of her. I liked her a lot. I liked how different she and Buffy were. Like completely different. Complete opposite.
Kendra was a badass. It was really fun.
Badass. I really liked Kendra. Yeah, so this leads to the creation of Kendra.
Because when a Slayer dies, a new Slayer is born. So Buffy technically died. So
although I remember when we were rewatching it, we had some real questions about how another Slayer hadn't possibly been killed at all before in the past and come back to life in any way, shape, or form. We're like, wait a second. If you've had Slayers since basically the dawn of man, and you're telling me this is the first time one has ever died and like came back, it sounds sus to me, but all right.
Maybe the villains back then were more thorough.
Yeah, they actually drank that and then snapped their necks. They're like, okay, you did.
Which I think Spike does to a Slayer. He drains her and snaps her neck in the subway.
I think so. Yeah, Spike was very thorough. They go off to fight the Master, and it's so cool because as they're walking, like Buffy's in the lead, and Angel and Xander are behind her, and then they have the little intro song play, like, and they go to the school, and Buffy's leading the charge. She's like, "Oh, look, a bad guy!" When she sees a vampire, just like knocks him out. And then she goes up to face the Master, and she doesn't have like his pull does not work anymore. Like she's over that. She fights him. She defeats him. She throws him off the roof, and he kind of lands on this like upturned table thing and kills him. So she defeats the Master. I forgot to say, in the meantime, when Xander and Angel were like going to look for Buffy, Miss Calendar, Willow, and Giles were in the library still doing more research, and they were like, "Where would this open? Where would this Hellmouth open? We have to go to where it opens." And so they assume it's the Bronze. So Miss Calendar and Willow get ready to go to the Bronze, and as they're getting there, they find that they're just like surrounded by vampires. The vampires are surrounding the school. Because the Hellmouth is actually opening up in the library. That's where it's going to open. So
as they're walking out, Hellmouth, and I was going to open
library.
The library is an obvious choice.
Yeah, all those books. Yeah, so as they're walking out and they're surrounded by vampires, they're like, "Oh no!" And then Cordelia just saves day. She like drives up in her car. She's like, "Get in!" And they do, and then she's like, "Where are we going?" or something, and they're like, "We gotta get to the library." And she's like, "Library, right, got it." And just like takes her car and she just drives it through the school doors, like straight down the hallway, right to the library. And it's just Cordelia coming in as winner takes all superhero guy. She just like saved Miss Calendar and Willow, that's for sure. She saved them. And again, she didn't have to, she just like does this because she like inside she is a good person. So they're all in the library, like battling these vampires, and she even bites a vampire at one point. She's like, "How do you like it?" It just feels my love for Cordelia. But yeah, so they're all fighting, and that's before Buffy gets there, and then Buffy gets there and defeats the Master, and the Hellmouth closes, and this beast thing that came out during it, which looked gross. Like I don't know, you didn't really get that close of a look of it. I don't
think there like tentacles and stuff.
Yeah, there's like tentacles and are like grabbing things and like trying to pull people in, and all this sort of stuff. So yeah.
It's like Audrey from Little Shop of Horrors at the end.
Yeah. Yeah. So that goes back down into hell. And yeah, then it's over, and Buffy comes back down, and she looks at the master, who's just bones now. He didn't just turn to dust, like his like skin and flesh turned to dust, and he had his bones left. And they decide that, hey, we saved the world, we should go party. So there's still the dance at the Bronze. So they all get ready to go to the Bronze and have a good like post saving the world party. And as they're walking, then Angel's like, oh, I really like your dress. And Buffy's like, yeah, I've been told. So yeah, that was Prophecy Girl. The end of season 1. And at this point, I was hooked. I was like, please, well, I knew I already knew there was like a second season, I think. So I was like, oh, good, we have a second season, more Angel, more Buffy, more fighting, more all this wonderfulness. So yeah, I really like this episode.
Me too. It's got all the Slayer fights and finally facing the big bad, and then it's got Angel in there. Yeah, it's definitely a really good episode.
It is. I think they had the thing about Buffy season 1, as we've been talking about it, I was kind of realizing there's a lot of in-between episodes that I didn't really care for.
I know.
Which is weird, because I think of season 1 and I love it, but I guess when I think of season 1, I think of the first episode, actually the first 2 episodes, which I just consider sort of one episode, this last episode, and then the Angel episode. Like, that's my season 1. I'm like, oh, season 1 was amazing.
Those 4 episodes. If you're gonna just, cherry pick and rewatch, just watch those 4.
Absolutely amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's my season 1 arc for me, those 4 episodes, and everything else is just sort of the fluff in between, or like creepy puppets in between, or ugly bugs in between.
So yeah. So how many bloody spikes would you give it?
I think I would give it 9 bloody stakes.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah,
I was thinking 7 at first, but then I was like, oh, I should probably go higher.
I was thinking 8 at first, and then I was like, like maybe, I don't know, maybe I should go with my gut, but there was so much I liked about it. There were a few things I didn't like. I wasn't too keen on, again, Xander being the one to give her like CPR and breathe her back to life. I think it just probably complicates the Xander Buffy relationship even more going into the next season, which we do see. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe 8.5. 8.5 bloody stakes.
8.5. Yeah, maybe I'll do 8. I'll do 8 bloody spikes.
Yeah, I think for me it goes
bloody stakes. Excuse me.
Yeah, because I do think I like the first episodes better than this one. I think. But I did
still a really good episode.
It's still it's a great episode. It's in my, I think it's in my top 10. I'll have to think about that, because I'm not sure about seasons 2 and 3 when I felt about all of those episodes. But I think it's in my top 10. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I said, if you're gonna cherry pick, watch those 4 episodes.
Watch this one. Yeah, for sure. So yeah. 8.5 for now. That might change in the future as I talk more about other episodes, and I'd be like, why did I give that 8.5? I should have given it like 10.
10. I know. Yeah. We're hesitant with our stakes.
Yes, we are.
More seasons to go. So
yeah, we're still like, this is the end of the first season. It's only 12 episodes in. We got a lot more episodes to go. So that's why I'm like, I don't know where my stake ratio lies yet. I haven't figured that out. But that was our review for the season-ending Prophecy Girl. We hope you guys liked following along with us. Yeah. And we will see you for season 2. Enter right into season 2. Which I love. One of my favorite seasons, I think. Maybe my favorite season.
It's a good one.
It's a good one. Alrighty, so that is it for us today. Bye.
Bye.